Infiltrate Radio.
All right. I don't know if we've ever done that live, Biz.
I don't think so.
Has that been done? Hey, Lisa, what's going on?
Not much. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming on the show. So we're on episode 47, Biz, and we've got
47.
Lisa Dove. I'm Patrick Joanne.
And I'm Biz Chance.
And Lisa Dove she's the assistant matchmaker at Millionaires Club and owner and marketing consultant, at Butterfly Social. And is it lisadove.com? Is that?
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong. All right. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, and you're also, not only are you all those things, Lisa, but you're also my bass player's sister. So he did warn me not to ask anything incriminating about him from your childhood, but feel free to just divulge all his deep dark secrets here on our podcast.
He actually told me, "Don't say a word about me."
Oh, did he? Well, too bad, Jeff.
Too
bad, Jeff, if you're listening.
All right, so we're less than a minute. We already got her in trouble. That's good.
Yeah. So we're trying some new stuff here too. One is this live jam here. So guys, pardon our construction as we're going through this, but we're gonna try some new effects during the show.
I've been reading it as live.
What's that?
I said I've been reading it as live.
Oh, as Biz, sometimes. I'm hoping this is going live. Oh, it looks like Jeff is actually on, so I'm hoping that means that we're broadcasting right now.
One of our previous guests told me he was going to tune in, so let's see if...
Is anyone able to verify somehow with me that it's actually going live? Because I don't know if it is. Maybe send me a message.
Sorry, I'm the new vegan. I don't have Facebook.
Maybe send me an instant message via iMessage or something. But all right, so as per usual, after all this the sweeping away of the construction stuff is out of the way, hopefully this is going live. If it didn't work, then it didn't work, and we'll broadcast it obviously on all our normal stuff. So we always talk about our drinks first, and this is no exception, being that we're live. So Lisa, we'll start with you. What do you got? What are you drinking there?
I got a little Caprio wine, Caprio Cellars wine.
Is that a red, or it looks like a red, probably?
It's a red blend.
Excellent.
It's very tasty. One of my clients sends me a case every few months.
Oh, nice. A case.
Yes.
That's beautiful. Is it a dryer or is it a sweeter?
It's kind of in between.
In between.
Very
Okay.
nice. Yes.
Like a nice red.
Parties.
Where is it? Where is it from? Is it a California product?
Washington.
Ah, Washington, huh? Bear with me here a second. I'm just moving my wires, making a lot of noise. So what do you? I saw you had 2 bottles there though when we started. So you had the wine there, but then is that? So what's on the left there? Or
Pink vodka.
I've never heard of that. What is pink? What is it? Pink
Whitney.
Whitney. Huh. What is that? Is it just a straight up vodka? Oh, New Amsterdam, is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
I know it. What's it mixed with?
A little bit of bubbly.
No, but what is the pink? What's the pink in it? The lemonade or something?
It's like it is.
Huh.
I
Interesting.
usually mix it with orange juice and Sprite.
Huh.
All right.
Sounds delicious. Biz, what do you got?
I've got the elixir of life. No, I've got this super, we'll call it yummy, Zico coconut water.
All right. Is it a flavored one or no?
No sugar added.
Man, so when I used to run marathons, the coconut water was the shit. That's what I used to be on that in a million ways. Actually, as a matter of fact, I used to do Bikram yoga, and I think it was the first session I was in there. They always had coconut waters like for sale outside, and they actually had a kombucha too. But they used to have coconut waters outside. I remember going in and just the first time you do Bikram yoga. Do you know what Bikram yoga is? Or Bikram? I forget how you pronounce it. So it's just like hot yoga, right? It's like 110 degrees and you do 90 minutes and it's this set form. A lot of people are against it because I think the guy that created it was kind of like a dick. But like
What does that have to do with anything?
that particular copyrighted style of yoga, like people didn't like him, like so anyway, but I did it the first time and I came out of it and that was all they had to drink. And I remember just being like, give me the coconut water. I don't know if it was Zika. Is it Zika or Zico?
Zico. It's a
Zico.
man.
Is it good? Do you like it or no?
I mean, no. It's awful. It's I like
it's
my water to
hydrating.
be water. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even vitamin water. Like, call it something. Call it like Kool-Aid, because that's what it is. Like,
Is it like milky? It's like
the
milky, right? Kinda?
no, it's like pretty transparent. Oh, the cameras over here. Sorry.
I don't know.
It's
If
pretty
we're still not
transparent, but
seeing it.
it's yeah, you are, you liar. I can see it. You just don't know that you could see it. Yeah,
You know
but
what? So me and my girlfriend had a discussion last night about utilizing Sunny D as popsicles. So making your own popsicles with Sunny Delight. And I don't like Sunny Delight at all, but for some reason I think that it would make an excellent popsicle, kind of like a cream, orange creamsicle, that sort of vibe to it.
I feel like it could.
But then she told me it's not. It doesn't have that same kind of like creaminess to it. It's more of like a tart thing. And then I started to rethink it. So I'm not 100%. Don't, if anyone out there makes Sunny D popsicles and it comes out terrible and they're like, this is the worst thing, why did Pat ever suggest that we do this?
Shoot us an email.
I haven't
at-
tried. Yeah, it was just a discussion point that we're having. Oh yeah. So send us an email at infiltrateradio@gmail.com. So anyway, we'll get past the drinks here. So my drinks, I've got some Starbucks just instant. And some of these little creamers, and it's reminiscent of my camping days. I like camping, and when I camp, I go a little bourgeoisie with it. So I bring these guys, and I've got this little ultralight stove that I boil water in. So I keep it like just outside the tent, the little stove, and then I got these in my thing because they're sealed. Bears aren't going to eat me. So I take them out in the morning, and I have like Starbucks in the tent while I'm camping, like a I don't know, glamping? Is that what they
Like a
call it,
king?
Lisa? Like a king. Yeah, I eat fresh squirrel meat and drink one of those. So that's what I've got in my cup, some coffee, and I did down a Red Bull right before this. So remember, guys, anything that we talk about on the show, if you click on the links when we post it, we get a little pocket change. So now on to Lisa. Thank you again for coming on the show. And I wanted to bring you on because part of what we like big discussions that we've been having were around social media and kind of the pluses and or pros and cons of it, and what it's doing to, I guess, our society, and where it makes sense. Like we've also talked about a lot of the good stuff that comes out of it too, and how everyone maintains their sanity, I guess, or Biz has always been insane, so he's not keeping any sanity, right, Biz?
Unhinged, yeah.
You're right. But the reason I wanted to have you on is because you actually do a lot with social media, and one of the reasons why I kind of thought of you, as I was saying earlier, was this new app called Clubhouse. And you had posted something about being on there, and for people that like to talk and podcasters and things, it might be a cool little social media app, because what it is, well, maybe I have you explain it because you've actually been on it, right? But why don't you introduce yourself, tell people what you're kind of up to now, and let's drop those ahead of time where they can find your information and what have you, and then tell me about what you're doing, and then maybe a little bit about what's going on with Clubhouse too.
All right. My name is Lisa Dove. I am a boy mom. I live in Maryland, grew up in Fairport, New York. You're chuckling already?
Biz is just an idiot. Don't
Just
pay-
boy mom out of the gate,
Boy mom. Yeah. Well, where was I? Okay.
Yes.
So Yeah, so I started a business in social media marketing around 2013. I was doing it for bars and restaurants. I was also doing it for Dana and Chris Hoyles. They had their own wine label. If you don't know who Chris is, was a Baltimore Oreo, and he had his own wine label. So I started with them for a small amount, and then with
What got you into that? Because I mean, that's obviously not, or I would assume is probably not where you started getting into this social media marketing thing. So what made you go into that as kind of like a line of business?
I went to school for marketing, and then I was talking to a friend who owned a business called Life Marketing, and
Hmm.
he needed a social media manager, and it just seemed to fit because I am very social. Love, at the time I loved Facebook. I get a little sick and tired of it at times, but
Sure.
yeah.
Feel that.
Um,
I feel that.
yeah.
Mhm.
So at the time, so you weren't actually doing. Were you taking classes on social media marketing in particular, or it was you said it was just a general marketing?
Yeah, it was so I was in network marketing, I guess, in 2009 when Facebook first came around. And one of the things he did was have us, instead of doing home parties, he was having us sell via social media.
Hmm.
But he taught us a lot. And my business grew really, really quick. I had thousands in my downline within a matter of a week or two. I had famous people, some I'm still friends with, things like that. So it gave me a leg up.
So when you say he, so you're talking about is this someone that's teaching the social media or the marketing network? Because explain that to me. What is market? What did you say? Market
Life marketing.
network? Yeah, life marketing. Yeah, what is that?
Okay. That was through my friend Rob Kowalski. And he kind of taught us what to do. It was for bars and restaurants. So basically, it was a lot of fun memes and what's on the menu and cool drinks. And it was really,
N-
yeah,
Now, was this a training for you, or this was a job?
a job, part time
You're
job.
getting paid. So he asked just because you were naturally kind of good in the social media realm to hop on and assist with what's going on there.
Yes,
Is that accurate? Okay. So you were kind of learning on the job when you started all this.
absolutely.
Okay. So you're working along with him. And is there a team of people? Like, is it you and a bunch of people, or you're kind of like heading this? He's like, here's the
So
badge with the
there,
social media.
there was a team of four of us. And probably within like 6 months, he had to let us all go for financial reasons.
Hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? I can do this on my own. So I did. And I started with friends, which were Chris and Dana Hoyles and their wine label. And then I grew to other bars and restaurants all over the US.
Hmm. So what was like? Because I know you're good at kind of made the jump from not necessarily having a title of social media director, let's say, or whatever of a company, right, into it. What do you think actually translated well from a personal, someone's, let's say, a great, they have a lot of people that engage with their posts on Facebook or Instagram or wherever the social media platform is. Like, what do you feel translates well from a personal account, let's say, to something like marketing? And did you find that like a lot of what you were doing was either working or not working when you made the jump to a professional, kind of career in social media? Because I would imagine that that's very different, right? Um,
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. But at the time, we didn't have Facebook ads. So it was real easy to grow your, you know, followers and visitors and things like that. And then as time went on, they changed the rules and they added ads. And I actually got away from bars and restaurants because it's kind of the same thing. You could literally post the same thing on every bar page. It wasn't that motivating. So then I
Right.
started working with coaches, spiritual coaches, business coaches, whiskey connoisseurs, real estate agents.
hmm. So the change, I know when the paid ads started, because I remember that too. I had a business page before they started selling ads on there, and it was a whole different world of of engagement, right? So as soon as they made that move, what kind of changed in the world of getting engagement from something like social media? Like, was there a big jump? Me personally, I noticed some changes, but did you notice anything that happened when they made, when they said, "Hey, we're going to start charging for, you know"?
Oh, sure. Followers went down or engagement went down. So you're posting more or you're finding different avenues to post. So, I went from Facebook to Instagram and Pinterest and YouTube and now Clubhouse. Of course, that's all the rage right now. And
Yeah, and that app is really cool. I want to talk about Clubhouse too. But so what I kind of noticed too when they made that jump to like a paid model for it, like the ability for people to actually see things that you're posting. So if you're trying to get your message out and things like that, especially for small businesses, and the reason I bring this up is, having owned a bar, you like that, Biz? I just snuck that in. Having owned owned a bar in the past, the social media aspect of it was something I did for there too, and in order to get people's eyeballs on it, because they may want to, let's say, go to an event that you're hosting, or like this, we posted a live event. There were some hiccups with some people telling me they couldn't actually see the event, and I've noticed a giant change, not only after the paid ads started happening, but once it got into like a couple of years of that, I think what they learned is that they can hide stuff from people that are following your page, in order to entice the business or what have you to pay more to get that in front of people, which is kind of a crazy business model, because I think that the reason people flocked to Facebook from a business perspective initially was that they were able to engage with their customers one-on-one, without necessarily having to place up ads that you don't know who that's going to. And I think the mistake that they're kind of making right now is Facebook is moving towards that to get more revenue in. But I think that people are actually being turned away from it. Like, I see a lot of small businesses now saying, like, all right, now that I have to pay, it's not as worth it to me, as a small business, because I don't have the money to continue to pay. And who knows who's actually getting to see it, which is the initial problem with, paper and billboards and that. People are maybe looking at it, but who knows what the engagement is on it, right?
Right. Well, I was going to say the same thing, is that when you pay for it, you get like a lot of views. You know what I mean? It spikes the amount of people they're putting in front of, but does that really equate to anything? Because it still results in like no sales or very little engagement. Because I noticed you said that
Yeah, and I
gives the
think
engagement, but it kind of lacks that actually. It kind of just it inflates the things that you can see, but again, the things that everyone else can see, that kind of causes that snowball effect, it lacks.
Yeah, and I think people like you, Lisa, is where for companies it makes sense to have someone that kind of knows the ins and outs of a lot of those things, because not every social media website is the same too. And obviously with things like what we were just talking about there, Clubhouse is a completely different medium to talk, in or to broadcast a message in, let's say from a company's point of view. YouTube is significantly different, like what people engage with on there versus on Facebook, I think is different. What would you say to a small business? I mean, would you say that Facebook, like which social media app would you say right now is probably the place to be if you're a small business or you're trying to get a word out about, your product or your service or your
statistic wise, Facebook is still the highest, but I always tell my clients to go with the one that you're actually going to use, the one that you're going to feel good about using. So, and depending on what you're selling too. So, Instagram is up and coming, and now they have the Instagram Reels, which is a lot like TikTok, and lives go very, very well. So I really like to figure out what my clients are actually going to use. If they're going to get on lives, or if they want written content or more visual, that all plays a role in it.
Now, do you coach people on like, or business owners or whoever's in the marketing department, like where their time, if they're utilizing things like video or live or what have you, like which social media platform would be better to use, and maybe which demo you would hit better with certain platforms? Because I've noticed there is an age difference in, like, the population that engages on like a Facebook versus an Instagram versus a TikTok or any of the other platforms. So like I recall getting the suggestion from one of my employees a while back to get onto, I think it was Snapchat, possibly, but from a business perspective, I'm like, I guess. And then I got on, and I don't think that's tailored to like the audience that I was selling product to. You know what I'm saying? So,
right. But TikTok would be good for you.
Do you have like a general, like for this, right? For the podcast, I think that would make sense. Like, what do you think is there actual kind of demos depending on the social media platform that hit better or worse?
Usually what I do is I give people the overall plan. Like, if this was my business, this is what I would do. And then we have to go through and narrow it down. Sometimes it's because they can't pay all that all at once and they're still growing. So we'll start off small. They all pretty much have paid ads now, except for Clubhouse. So
yeah. So I know we've touched on that a bunch of times. So let's get into what that particular app is, and then I guess why it's been hyped up, I guess, is as much as it has. So maybe talk a little bit about what it is first. And
well, they were smart. Those invites are hard to get. So if you do get an invite, that's great. And then they give you a few invites when you start. And then eventually, the more you participate, the more they allow you to wave people in, kind of like you're actually at a club. And they're like, hey, this is your friend. You want to wave them in? You're like, no, or yes.
Right. So it's very, very discerning as to who can actually get onto the platform. So that's something that I think Apple mastered from a marketing perspective too, is like, making it a little bit out of reach for some people increases the value of what it seems like it is, right?
Well, they did that. Actually, Apple didn't do that. The app is still in the beta phase. So iPhone and Apple is actually the easiest one. If you do the Android, that needs kinds of phone.
What I meant was actually their marketing perspective. So they release a new iPhone, right?
Yes.
They don't have enough for everyone, so there's lines waiting, right? There's something valuable to that, artificial deprivation of stock,
Can't have it.
Right. But explain to people what do you actually do on this platform, because it is very different than Facebook.
It's all audio, and it's real time, so nothing is saved, no conversation saved. When the room closes, everything disappears. It allows you to have authentic conversation, networking. I kind of like look at them as like mini podcasts, and you will meet people that you probably would have met otherwise. Like, I was in Gary Vee's room today, and I was like, wow, this is cool. I wouldn't normally be in.
Right. So is it a list of different topics, and maybe just to clarify what it is? So basically, when you join, it's all voice. Is there any video, or no? It's just audio, right? So there's different rooms with, I guess, different people speaking about whatever the topic is. Do they actually explain what the topic's going to be, or is it just this person is talking right now?
One-liner.
Okay, so there is some sort of like
marketing trends for 2021.
Gotcha. And then are people able to engage with the speaker? Because I think that's part of it too, right? So because people can actually raise their hand, I'm assuming, or in some way.
Yep. They can raise their hand to ask a question or to speak, and sometimes they invite you to speak.
And then you can start, either speaking about the particular topic or whatever. And can they mute you? Like, do they shut people down? Ever?
You can, but you can mute yourself too.
Excellent. No, and and it is interesting to me just because of the podcast, medium too is very kind of in that world. Are you allowed to record? I know you said it disappears.
Oh.
Do they stop you from being able to record it?
Yeah, they'll kick you off.
Huh. Oh, interesting. So I don't know how I feel about it.
You can't even comment.
Yeah,
so in order for them to reach out to you, they have to friend you on Instagram, which is kind of cool. So my Instagram numbers are going up.
Huh. Interesting. So I think maybe what would be a good idea though is maybe have public and private rooms in some way, right? I wonder if there's a reason why they don't do that. Because you would think like some of them, if they're public, then you can record them, then people can go back and listen to them because, it just disappears into the ether then, right?
Mm-hmm.
But from a networking perspective, I can see the privacy of it being deleted, making a lot of sense. Like when you're at a party, or you're at a networking event, right? You're not recording everything that you're talking to everyone at the party about. But so have you said it seems to make sense that you've been on it here? What's the most engaging part of it? Like, are you spending a lot of time on it, like moving from room to room?
I know people that do. You really have to monitor your time or you can get sucked in and you could be there all day. Some conversations actually go on to the next day. Like Gary Vee's room probably is open all the time.
Huh.
I've heard of some big speakers will actually leave the room and the conversation's still going.
Right. Well, that actually makes sense. Like people can just have a conversation if they want to return to it the following day. If people keep continuing it, I mean, and you have different time zones, so there's going to be someone awake somewhere in the world, right? That could be in it. My thought was like, will it actually be engaging because it's audio? So you'd actually have to have like if you're walking around, almost like you're listening to a podcast, like you could be listening to a conversation that's happening without even engaging. Just in your headphones or whatever while you're walking around. Do you said you have it on your phone, the app?
Yeah, so you can only really have it on your phone. It's not on your laptop yet.
Does it let you like turn off the screen, or do you have to have the screen on in order to
you can turn off the screen so I can go do something else. I can scroll on Facebook while I'm listening.
Huh. Yeah, Biz isn't allowed on us. Don't just wave him off of it if you could, Lisa. Just not allowed to be on it. Biz.
Invite.
But that's interesting. So
I hear they're going for like $800 too.
Oh, are they? People are actually trying to sell it?
Yes.
Wow.
Is that? Huh. Well, like I said, the scarcity of something sometimes makes things valuable, which is a good thing. Good thing to know in marketing. So, so you went from doing kind of friends, social media marketing, like the wine there, and then where did you go from there? So you decided you're going to start your own social media company. Like what was?
So I was doing bars for like a year or two, and then that didn't feel very fulfilling. So I moved on to business coaches. I have my own clients all around the world, and then I worked for 2 virtual assistant firms. I don't even mind talking about them. One was White Space, and the other one was Priority VA. They were great if you want to learn different things, and my business grew. And then I started doing things like director of casting for a reality show, or now I'm working for Patty Stanger from the Bravo show Millionaire Matchmaker.
So you kind of grew, and that's under your own. Are you like a contractor, so to speak, with regards to that, or I don't need to get into all the business of it.
Nope,
but
it's fine. Yes, private contractor.
Because that's the better. I think that's the better way to be if you can be a part of something, because you're your own entity, you're your own company. You don't necessarily have a boss except for your customer, which is,
Right.
always your boss, right?
Right.
So what the Millionaire Matchmaker? I know I've heard of it. I personally haven't watched the show. What's the idea behind the Millionaire Matchmaker?
The show doesn't exist anymore. It's actually right before COVID happened. They were supposed to be picked up by another station, and that kind of got pushed back. She has a few shows on the Hallmark Channel now, Dating Mysteries. One character she named after me. She has my last name.
Oh, nice.
Don't ask me which one because I don't know which show it is. Don't know. But are you kidding? What am I going to say about that? Oh, so we have the show, but she's had a real matchmaking boutique for years. And so that's actually what I do. I actually do matchmaking.
Huh. Really? Oh, so you've actually been doing that?
Yes.
For people? Ah. So what do you personally get engaged with the pairing up of individuals?
I do. How do you let me know what the client is looking for? And then I search the database, find that, and we create matches.
What do you feel has been the biggest challenge, like matching people up? Do you find like there's an overarching thing that makes it difficult to match up someone?
COVID.
That is true. I can see that being the case.
A lot of our bachelors can fly anywhere they want, and depending on what city you're in, restaurants are open or closed.
That's true.
Makes meeting a little difficult.
Yeah, I find myself questioning now too, like when everything goes back to normal, will I actually go back to doing a lot of the things that I used to do? So like, for instance, the gym, I've been contemplating today because it's been since February that I've actually worked out in a regular gym. And I've got kind of my home thing all set up to do it. And I've got my routine now for my entire day. I wonder, is everyone going to go back to restaurants and back to their kind of, routine again after this? Will dating be different? Will it always be like this? Everyone will be dating over Zoom, Do you have people? Are you setting people up for Zoom dating or no?
Yes. And it really depends on the city because like I'm in Maryland, so most of the state is open at 50%. Baltimore City is not open, but a lot of us are open. And then I go to like, if I have somebody to match in LA or Washington, they're closed or almost closed. So finding a restaurant for them can be a little tough.
Yeah. So I want to ask you one other thing, Lisa, here before we get too deep into this, because I know Jeff's probably listening. So Jeff is, for all our listeners, is my bass player in my band, and of course your brother. So do you have any stories? One from his younger days that we can just use and broadcast here live that won't get him into too much trouble, but I'd like to know some sort of an embarrassing story from his and your youth. Have anything on the top of your mind for him?
I don't know. Probably one of our funnest stories actually has to do with our dad, because my brother sounds a lot like our dad, and my brother would have girls calling that he would find annoying, and my dad would call as him.
So he would answer the call and pretend that he was Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm gonna have to ask him about some of those. Jeff's getting all the girls calling him all the time. He's a good-looking guy. If you guys get the opportunity, look up Jeff Carr.
Jeff Carr.
So I guess, where do you see yourself going from here? Because I know social media right now is kind of the most powerful thing to get a message out, because no one's even out anymore. I mean, have you seen like an increase in what you're doing business wise from the social media? Like, are you getting more clients now? Do you feel like it's gone down?
No, it's gone up. And online shopping is, I'm not sure shopping will ever return to the way it was. I kind of miss going clothes shopping in person, but honestly, with COVID, online shopping has gone up. So that actually helps businesses. They don't have that overhead that they used to have.
Well, they're gonna have to change how they're doing a lot of them too, because a lot of even the malls, which is crazy to think like that malls are just going out of business all over the place.
Malls were kind of going out of business before COVID, though. There was like an influx in kind of awareness to the fact that malls were kind of an outdated technology.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do with an empty mall, Biz, if you were given a mall?
Stop. If you mean if someone gifted to me,
Yes. What
oh
would you
my
turn all the stores into?
I think you already know. I think
We
you already
would
know.
be 90% beard oil stores
No,
and
Beard
beanie,
oil.
beanie stores.
Awesome.
We're
I
we're
turn it
talking.
probably into a production studio.
Ah,
Honestly, get
that
like a
could be
sound room.
something.
Turn a bunch of the rooms to look like one into a classroom, one into a hospital waiting room, one into an ER, one into a high school. Like just a. Did I already say high school?
No.
Well,
Oh,
school. I guess that makes sense. Cross.
but turn it into a bunch of different things. So ideally, you got everything you need within the confounds of your mall.
What's like? I know, Lisa. You mentioned like clothing stores and stuff like that. But like, what do you think is the particular product that has to absolutely be in like a brick and mortar store? Like frozen yogurt for sure, right? 'Cause that's
Right.
ubiquitous across every mall.
No, absolutely not. I need Amazon to drone
you
deliver
can't-
me mine.
You can't. I guess you can. You can do an Instacart, right, Lisa? Or you could do Grubhub. You could Grubhub.
It's melted though by the time you get it. I've delivered it
Ice
for people
cream?
before.
Oh, my kids and I get ice cream via Instacart. I mean,
Grubhub
yes,
or one of those. Just a bunch
one
of
of
them.
those. Yes.
Uber
Yeah.
Uber Eats.
Yeah. Uber Eats.
So, but does it come melted? Is it substandard? Do they need to have like some sort of a new delivery system? I'm excited for the new world, guys.
They're actually really quick about it. You get it like really, really quick, like 15 minutes maybe.
The ice cream, yeah.
Yes.
So I'm with Biz though. They need there needs to be an innovation around how they're delivering that sort of thing. Because I've also ordered like meals and gotten desserts. I know everyone is experiencing this now too because everyone's home. But when you get stuff delivered now, right? You got your melted dessert if you got some sort of ice cream, and then usually the food itself too is in some sort of container that's making it taste terrible. Like you
Or
get
soggy.
a hamburger, yeah, like the bun's all gross. This is where we need to innovate, people. This is where America's future lies.
Yeah.
Everyone listening here, we need to innovate the food delivery service.
You can actually have restaurants deliver your alcohol now.
That is great. But by the way, why was that ever a problem? I don't understand.
know.
Like you're delivering it to the person's house, the safest place you could possibly be bringing alcohol to. Do you
But
think
that
it
was only a thing in New York State. Like other states come
true.
here and think that's so weird that we don't have liquor sold liquor and wine specifically sold in like grocery stores, and that we don't have alcohol delivery services and things like that.
Was it the open container in a delivery car that's the problem?
I don't think so, because it's not even in an open container. Like, because for Postmates, you've always had the option, like, and Postmates has been around since like fall of 2018, that if you are willing to show your ID, you could get alcohol and cigarettes and stuff like that ordered through the app and have them delivered to your house.
Postmates.
What's that,
that?
Lisa? I'm sorry.
In Maryland, we just got Postmates.
Oh wow! So yeah, it's almost 2.5 years later. Yeah, they're only just now starting to get big in Rochester, but they do like Apple and Verizon orders, and you can get stuff from like cosmetic shops and pet stores. It's more like a courier service than it is a food service. But when it first starts in an area, they kind of do like exclusively food, and they kind of grow from there. But yeah, no, they've been in the Rochester area for like 2.5 years or so now.
Did you grow up in Rochester, Lisa?
I sure did.
Yeah,
with
so
my mother.
what made you move to Maryland, if I may ask?
My ex-husband got a job with Secret Service.
So, and then you decided to stay. You like it in Maryland?
Well, I had to stay because I had here, so I was kind of forced to stay. I did leave once. I went to Charleston for a year, and I loved that.
Okay.
Crazy stories, though. It was actually my brother's best friend that I married.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to ask him about that.
Small
if you
world
about it here. So what was Maryland like during all this? Because you were out. I would assume out and about. You're doing the social media thing. You're working on stuff with these TV shows and matchmaking. Were you kind of traveling a lot before this?
No, I was working from home.
Oh,
I did have one client that I was traveling quite a bit for, but that was before COVID. But yeah, so I work from home.
so for the
Great.
most part, it ended up like kind of being the same
The same.
as during this. So what did Maryland look like when all this started happening? I mean, did they do the full on shutdown of everything? And
Yeah, we were closed completely down till May, and then they started opening us back up. They started closing us kind of back down the last month or so, but it's really weird how they're. I always thought they were pretty well organized until this last month or two. They're like, bars are open at 50%, but if you have a house party, you can only have 10 people. What?
yeah, it's really really
Makes no
strange.
sense.
So what was your thing? Were you continuing to work even through that shutdown? Because you said you were working from home anyway, but obviously that it, even for people working at home, things kind of changed, right? Because some of what you're interacting with or what you're selling, right, is actually people moving around and being together. Did that change?
But I became a teacher.
You what? You said
I
you
became a teacher. I had to teach my son from March till June. They did the virtual school,
yeah.
and now luckily his school is online and he has teachers online. But I got to make sure he's not sleeping or.
Yeah, how is that treating you? Because that's something that's tough for people right now too, that don't have kids. They probably don't get what's going on too. But I work from home myself, and so when the kids are in school, typically they're away, right? So they're doing something else. I'm not managing their lunch and their what they're doing throughout the day, and the amount of questions kids ask you during the day about random stuff. Sometimes it's challenging to keep focused on what you're doing with your day job. What has your experience been with the homeschooling thing? Are they back in school now too, by the way?
So my youngest is 16 and he's the only one still in school, but we never went back. So we shut school down in March and they were getting ready to open back up in I think October, November, and they changed their mind and closed them completely. So it's kind of sad because he's in high school. So he's missing all the high school sport.
Yeah. What is 16? Is he a freshman?
10th grade, sophomore.
A sophomore.
Grade, yeah.
All right, he's not missing too much. Sophomore year is like the middle year.
Sports.
So he's got plenty of years left. We'll be good, Lisa. So let me ask you this. So
I will say this: he got really used to hot lunches, and now he wants a hot lunch every day.
Do you do it? Do you actually do it?
No,
I don't play any of that. You get some chicken nuggets, maybe microwave.
There's spaghetti. Go warm it up.
A pizza roll.
He's used to having the lunch lady, so he's like, "Can you warm it up for me? Can you make me breakfast?" No.
Biz, I'm very interested in this now that you speak about lunch lady, Lisa. So what was your go-to high school meal if you ever bought it at high school?
Oh, I was boring. I never bought high school lunch. I ate peanut butter jelly sandwich from kindergarten to 12th grade.
Holy mackerel. I do
every day.
What about you, Biz? What was your go-to pick?
I mean, I went to school of the arts, so we had like Pizza Hut pizza and we were extra
spoiled. This guy.
Yeah. I went to a bunch of different schools though, and we used to it comes in like a tin from the dollar store with a foil on top of it, someone's nose hairs are clearly in it. Yeah, it was
my go-to. So I have two stories about lunch. So one is, I think we spoke about on the episode with Jonathan Chiotis. So go back and listen to that. And we had a lunchtime story when I got into high school. But my go-to was always the French fries, because you knew they were deep fried. So even if someone touched them or did something weird to them, they were going into really hot oil, and then just being thrown into a box. And usually there's not a lot of food handling.
And touched after it.
Yeah. So I would usually go French fries. But then in grade school, I remember this one time I started getting these little box chocolate milks, the little, I don't know, is that a quart?
Yeah, the little chocolate milks.
Whatever that is, the tiny thing. And every day I would get one. They were like a quarter or 50 cents or something, and I drink it on the way up the stairs, and then there was this little overhang with like a lip to it that was just outside this window as I was walking up. And every day for the entire year, I would drink it and then throw the empty carton out onto that. And by the end of the year, it was almost filled to the top with just these empty little chocolate milk.
Probably smelled terrible.
Containers. It probably did. It was outside, so
oh man,
you know, no big thing. But, so you're not the kind of parent that's actually making a fresh spaghetti dinner or lunch, I should say, every single day.
Well, I was gonna say I do the dinner, but I was doing the lunch when COVID started happening because I wasn't working much. So I'm like, well, let me cook. So they were getting a homemade breakfast every day, homemade lunch, and now I don't know what he's going to do when he has to eat.
Are they giving you like a set school schedule thing for him? So I know in the beginning it was very like haphazard in terms of
at the beginning I was teaching him.
Right. But I'm saying like there was no curriculum or anything that they were actually sending home. I don't know if it was different for high school, but the younger kids, it was basically like they're home. There's nothing, no schoolwork for them.
Oh, I wish. No, they gave them curriculum and then would make you sit there with them while making sure they get it.
I don't know a lot of that. We're gonna have
like they have more homework than they normally did. So I'm like, this is not cool. Give us less, please.
I do feel dumb when I try and do Common Core math because I have no idea how it really works. I am starting to get it a little bit, like it makes logical sense in some way, shape, or form. But what'll be fun, me and Biz, we're having astrophysicist I think next weekend or next week on the show.
Luckily, my brother and our mom was a math major, so that's my only saving.
So you're actually good at math.
No, I'm not. I give it to my
mom. I gotcha.
My mom is the tutor, the math tutor.
That's something like I'm decently good at math, but I like the way that they're doing the math now. I'm not a fan of it. I just think most people are doing it in their head, and I think that maybe it's a way of like breaking down for people that don't think in that way.
Right.
The way that it's good to think about math. I don't know. It makes sense, I guess, to me. So let's Lisa, one more time. Where can we, if someone needed some assistance with, are you still taking on clients now?
Yes,
right.
A little bit.
So where are the websites and where people can actually contact you if they want to hire you for their social media stuff?
My website's lisadove.com. My email is lisa@lisadove.com. Facebook, Lisa Dove, or you can join one of my groups, Butterfly Social. I have Lisa Dove Marketing.
So how did you get into, what was your interest in marketing? Because it seems like marketing is kind of like an artistic, like a creative endeavor in some way, right? Usually people get into marketing or they get into things like that. There's a little bit of like art behind it. Was that kind of where that you think that started? Like, how did you get into?
I actually started doing sales when I was 15 years old, which is a whole other fun story. Commission sales.
Sales for what?
My first job when I was 15 was actually at Kinney Shoes, selling shoes commission. So I've always been selling. And then when I went to college, they actually had a program for retail management. That's crazy. And then I realized, well, then I'm stuck in retail and I didn't want to do that. So I changed it to marketing.
What do they teach in retail management? Why is that crazy?
Sales, man, because it's retail. And now you're lucky to make minimum wage doing retail.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy.
But you had kind of an interest in sales and how to interact with people to get kind of some engagement kind of right from the start. Were you like, did you have your own lemonade stand when you were a kid and stuff? Did you do that sort of thing?
Oh, I have my own babysitting business.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
The big time.
All right. Mm-hmm. All right. Did you put out flyers and stuff? Did you have actual like business?
No, my neighbors, hopefully they're listening now. My neighbors, no, they hired me when I had like 4 or 5 neighbors I would babysit for.
Oh, nice. So you had like a regular business going on.
I
at
did.
That point. LLC, did you LLC it?
No. No. But I did think I was going to have my own store when I grew up. So I think that's when I decided to do retail. And then when I got into retail, I'm like,
What did you do? So you were actually like managing a retail store. That was sales, right? That you're talking about the sales position.
Oh yeah, when I was 15, I was definitely
Yeah.
not managing a store. Just commission shoes, and then eventually I was a manager.
All right. So let's do this. Let's get your opinion on some news, and we're going to try something new here for everyone on the live. And anyone that's tuning in live, thank you so much for watching and staying tuned. And Lisa, thank you for kind of being the beta tester here too on this, because this is the first time we're trying. We're going to try this new graphics here for what was formerly known as Biz's News Corner. And I know he's sorry to hear the name go, but I think we're gonna just change it to the news. Are you okay with that, Biz? You're not. I'm not.
I think I'm going to be okay.
You sure? Okay.
I think
So
so.
we'll just change it to Infiltrate Radio Podcast News. So let's try some new sound effects here. Lisa live from Infiltrate Radio Podcast News Megaplex. We've got the news stories of the day coming at you live. No, they're not live, but they're coming at you still.
We are officially live this time for
There
the
you
first
go.
time.
Oh, you got an actual, you got a little microphone in front of you and stuff. So hopefully that music came across. It's the first time we're trying to do that. So news, Biz. What do we got? What do we got?
It looks like the Prime Minister is Prime Minister of England. That is not of the United States. Mr. Boris Johnson. He is enforcing some stricter lockdowns. It looks like due to the new strand of COVID-19 that's gone rampant all over England.
What do you think about that?
Me personally, or asking Lisa?
Yeah. Well, let's go to Lisa first. What do you think about these new
strands and lockdowns
that seem to be coming around?
Well, my ex-husband does work for NIH, or at NIH right now. So
what's NIH?
National Institute of Health.
So what are your thoughts on? I mean, I know this new strain is coming. Is there any news that the vaccine actually functions? I did see something that said the vaccine should be just fine even on these new strains, but anyone else heard different in our uneducated news team?
I have not.
Actually, some of my friends that are in Fairport, New York, had their second shot today.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
So what was that like? Did they tell you like is it just like a normal like flu shot type of deal?
Yes.
Do they test them?
Any of them have side effects. None of them have said anything.
Do they test you before they give you the vaccine? Because that would be weird.
Good question. I don't know.
Huh.
Most of them are, hospital staff anyway.
Yeah. So I wonder too, because I know some people have gotten COVID and then recovered from it, and then you have antibodies. So do you need the vaccine then if you've already had that, and do they get put on like the back of the list?
No, so they do. So when I have a friend that actually had COVID already, and then they're getting the shot, or they got the first round of shots, because you can still get it.
Right.
You get it twice. And then with the new strand,
yeah, the strains thing worries me for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, it's gonna, it's said that those strains tend to spread quicker. Not really any new symptoms equated with it. Obviously, COVID is bad because people are dying from it. So I don't know how much worse side effect or symptom you can get than that, but I don't think they're any worse or more deadly than the previous strains. But what worries me, there was something that was sent out recently that I've seen going around, and I don't know how factual it is, about being able for like giving the police the ability to potentially arrest people for being like a danger, which we talked a little bit last week, Biz, if you remember, about people's concerns about the vaccine and what's going on with how the government is kind of handling all of it. And I think there is a real concern there, and you start to see this like creeping in on your, some of your your rights whenever people, whenever they can. I feel like sometimes it's this like slow erosion of a beach that happens that you tend to not notice. So I don't know how factual it is. There's some sort of a law that's saying that they want to get passed that says that they can actually, like, if you're not wearing a mask, let's say, and potentially you could be contagious, then police could actually come and detain you, which is crazy. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, I may just be paranoid on that, but what do you think about that, Lisa? Do you
Can
think
they detain you for not wearing the mask already?
I don't think you can actually. No, you can't. I mean, you can be
Fine.
denied into a private store, like a store can be like, we don't want, you're not allowed in here because of that. It's kind of like a no shoes, no service type of deal. But I don't think the police can actually, unless it's different from state to state.
Because we can be fined
Hmm.
if you don't wear it in a public place. So a couple months ago, I was actually watching a friend of mine play in a band, and the rule is if you get up and walk around, you have to wear a mask. But if you're sitting at a table, you don't have to wear it. Well, they were making us wear it at the table, even if we were eating.
Hmm.
And the police showed up and actually sat there and watched us as we were eating or not eating. And if we like had our if we took a drink and kept our mask down, they'd walk up to us say, "Hey, you have to put your mask back on." And that's not even the
Huh.
law.
Wow.
So it was a little crazy.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's that's pretty intense. I mean, and there is a little bit of, yeah, there's
Like a handmaid tale.
yeah. Yeah, there's some like gray area here where I feel like some people are kind of testing out what they can get away with regards to like power grabs, right?
For
And I
sure.
think I think we need to be careful too about where that goes, and how much of that. And I think what concerns me when I said there's multiple things about the strains, the different strains of it, like different variants of it, is that can potentially allow people or individuals that want to grab power to have it go on forever, right? They can just say, oh, there's another
Right.
variant, there's another variant. How far can we take this? Can we talk about the flu and do this too? Can we talk about some other new, any new disease, or we want to control this? Is that a way to like, basically be able to grab a little bit more, erode a little bit more? Um,
I don't think with the flu because we have some antibodies, but with this one we don't. And
I'm
any future thing they come up with,
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I think there's some. I think there should be some concern about the way that it is being handled, in terms of like what you said, being sitting in a restaurant and having people watch whether or not, cops watch whether or not you have your mask up or down. I think that is stepping over the line, and there's a little bit of like thought of, oh, the people that really have a problem with wearing a mask. There's something bad about them, or they're dumb or something like that. But I think there is some validity to being concerned about your rights being infringed upon. Whether or not wearing a mask is, the platform to take that stand on, I don't know. But you do start to see, like I said, there's this thing that's trying to be introduced now, and I guess it's just in New York, about the same kind of thing where police can potentially step in on it, or you're throwing a party at your private house. Can they come and break that up? I think that might be stepping over the line, even though there is the possibility of a health crisis being part of it. People is the sovereignty of the individual person to do what they're doing. I mean, they're choosing to be in a place where potentially they can get sick. Other people are also choosing to be in that same environment where they could potentially get sick. Where is that line, I guess? But I think that's something that's interesting that's going on now, that I don't think has been a big concern of Americans.
Yeah, but I mean, later in the article, it says that people will be allowed to leave their homes for limited reasons, like shopping for essentials, exercise, and medical assistance. Johnson also said that people could still leave home to escape domestic abuse.
Hmm.
Because he said that was an issue that arose earlier in the pandemic with lockdowns, is that people that are in, child abuse or domestic abuse situations, you can't really expect them to stay in a lockdown.
Yeah, I think that what's interesting about it though is who makes the calls, right? Like who gets to make that call as to whether or not someone is, you know, and is out and about on a need to be, and do the people that have that power, are those the people we want to have control over that?
Right.
Is politicians, in general, people have a negative connotation to them, and a lot of the community, is weary of police and government officials and stuff too. So, who gets that say, I think is a dangerous tightrope to be walking on right now during all this. So I hope everyone's kind of on their toes and at least looking at it in a discerning way, because we definitely want everyone to get out of this, as many people as possible.
It looks like just as early as 7 minutes ago, Governor Cuomo confirms that New York State saw its first case of the UK strand as well.
And I think that probably is the case, because I heard too that I wonder if the astrophysicist that we're going to have on next week knows anything about biology. We can prod him about that too. Maybe it comes from the origin of the universe. This particular strain is like easy. Like this, the reason this is so dangerous is because of its ability to spread so quickly and easily, and that makes it more likely to adapt and change, which is why you're seeing these like variants. So I'm hoping it doesn't get like
it says
worse.
That there's another thing that CBS News released, that the COVID vaccines might not work as well on South African strands.
Now we're fear mongering here, Biz.
That's what it says.
I think
I only said it because it was a direct correlation of what you were saying.
I wonder though, if you're inoculated against it, would it be like less? You know what I mean? You get some variant of it.
You get like a runny nose
like
now.
The flu.
Yeah.
Probably just like the flu. If you get the flu shot, you might still get it, but maybe not as bad.
All right. What other news we got there, Biz? Do you have anything else in front of you that we should?
I mean, I just gave you 3 articles. You told me I was fear mongering with the last one.
Well, we don't
I
want
don't know if I mentioned it while we're recording either, but forgive my my slight speech impediment. I ridiculously bit my cheek, and it's causing a bit of a lisp, if you will.
Yep. No, you sound sexy as ever, Biz. Don't worry.
Great. Honestly, it looks like just a bunch of pop culture stories from there.
I do know
out,
that with regards to social media, there was a story. I'm not looking at something specific, but I know Apple is changing the way
Emma Stone is pregnant.
That they're actually allowing apps like Facebook to utilize their users' data, and Facebook is kind of fighting back against that. Have you heard anything about that, Lisa?
I didn't hear about Apple fighting back, but I know Instagram changed their terms of service where they can be more invasive than they ever have been. So people were trying to decide if they were going to stay on Instagram or not.
Yeah, I know Apple is updating, I think so when you go on something like Facebook, you know how they have their alerts where, are you allowed to access your camera or your contacts or whatever? They have to put up this warning. I think Apple is now putting some sort of a warning around the ad ability. So what it says is that, I think it's like, will you allow this app to keep a history of like your search terms and that sort of thing, so that they can target ads better to you? So kind of like, the reason that Google works so well is because they have all this data on where people search or how people go from like this site to this site to this site, so they can generally predict pretty well, what you'd be interested in. And Apple is set to implement something that would potentially block their ability to see that, so they couldn't target as precisely to your particular, Lisa Dove identity in their, in their logs. And I know that Facebook was pretty upset about it, but
Apple already has that thing where it lets you know, like the little there'll be a little dot up here that
Yeah, the
changes
location.
color. Yeah, it'll change color as to what they are accessing. Like if
Yeah.
you have your camera on, or if you're on Facebook or whatever.
I mean, I personally think it's a good thing to have the choice there, but I think that I do benefit a little bit from them suggesting things, like especially Amazon will suggest stuff. I'm like, oh, that's actually a good, like I actually would want that. But I also don't know if is that a good thing? Like maybe I'm just spending money on things that I don't really need just because,
Right.
Amazon started suggesting it, and I'm like, I wouldn't normally have bought that or even thought to have bought it had it not been suggested to me, but. But that's one story.
Shopping stuff that's happening. If malls stay closed, it'll help them out.
That is true. But if that stops, I mean, I think that would prevent them from being able to, to appropriately target Biz's beard oil. I'm gonna just make that a thing, Biz, that you love beard oil.
I literally never use
oil.
it. A bunch of people when we used to work at the call center, a bunch of people swore I did, and they asked me like what brand and what kind. I'm like,
I think
it's like someone else.
It softens the beard. What did you get for Christmas, Lisa? What was the big Christmas thing this year? Was there anything for 16-year-olds that were like this needs to be the thing?
Oh, well, he really wanted the new Xbox, but that wasn't happening.
Ah, all right. Yeah, that was out of stock I think it's still out of stock too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wasn't spending $1,000 on it. There is no way. He actually is a really good hockey player. He played for the high school, and he still plays for a travel team. They're allowed to do travel hockey. And so I said, you know what? I want to get you something that you'll do outside. And he bought some outdoor hockey skates. They're more like a roller blade with they have no brake, no stopper. so he does that. I got him like some fake ice. I got him an outdoor stick, outdoor pucks, the whole shebang.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
An outdoor rink. I've always thought about doing that. It hasn't been cold enough now to probably do that, but you make your own ice skating rink. You just spray some water, right?
My brother will tell you that our dad did that for us when we were little in Arundequoit.
Oh,
yeah, there's
really?
a couple houses in Victor actually that do it.
So you just make like an ice skating rink, like what, in your backyard?
Our front yard.
They do it in their front, yeah.
Their front yard, yep.
Was it like professionally done? Like did he choose to actually have like an actual border to it, or was it like a haphazard, just spray the yard with a hose and wherever it lands?
It was snowbanks. Okay. He sprayed it with water, so he had the ice.
All right, excellent. Yeah, I didn't have a lot of that. What we used to do in the city, growing up in New York City, is we used to take people's garbage can covers. And then we'd go to whatever the local supermarket or mall or whatever in their parking lots. They would make these big piles of snow, so we'd go sledding down the backs of those on garbage can covers. I know it's exciting, Biz, right?
Oh, so exciting!
So what else do we got? We got anything else in the news there?
Oh man, like I said, a bunch of the pop culture stuff. Looks like Emma Stone's gonna have a baby.
Oh wow.
I don't know who that is. Emma Stone is who? Biz?
Yeah, she's the girl in Superbad.
I don't know if I've seen Superbad either.
Yeah, you have. Get out of here. What else is she? She's in a bunch of she was in that movie that won an Oscar that didn't really.
It didn't really.
What was the movie a couple years ago that like won because they like misspoke? They like misread it. Anyway, she was in that movie with Ryan Gosling.
You're not helping at all, Biz. None of this is jogging my memory. I need to see her face.
Yeah,
Biz
look her up.
Worked with my brother. They worked together. He worked with Jeff.
Who did? Biz? Oh yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, Biz has worked with a lot of people. He gets around, Lisa.
That I do.
What's the sweatshirt, by the way? Are you wearing a Golden Road sweatshirt there?
You already know I am.
Looks familiar. Huh. All right, shout out to Golden Road too, by the way.
Yeah, you can link them to their products. You know?
I might throw that in there. So are we done with the news then? I think that's probably. Oh wait,
it's a bunch of repeated stuff from here on out. So I think so.
One last thing. So I think Biden, for his inaugural thing, is going to actually do some sort of virtual like parade, which is weird.
Like virtual, like Tupac was that one time, or like
like a hologram version of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on stage. That would be really cool if he did that. I think I might vote him into a second term just to see what his like follow up to that would be if he's on stage. But like the I don't know if he's doing, because it said multiple cities at once, so I don't know if like each city is going to have its own like virtual.
It's just going to be a Zoom call.
I don't know exactly what that means, a virtual parade. But I guess we'll see. We'll see when that time comes. I'm interested. If you haven't heard about that, I'm going to do a little bit of research on what that actually entails. But I imagine like individual cities, either like Zoom calls where there is something physically going on and someone's just, you know, filming the whole thing, or in the opposite way, Biz, like beaming Joe Biden into every city in the country virtually somehow. Then I would know it's time to move to Canada.
That seems the most expensive option. So probably not going to happen.
If there were theaters,
imagine if it's going to do it live, like Facebook Live.
Oh, you could. I mean, that would be one way. But if there's actual holograms of the president, the incoming president, broadcast to every theater in the United States, you know, I think there would be time to get out. I think I would be scared.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good reason to be.
But then you could have people like Tupac come out and do the show, like the halftime.
I'm Tupac and I support this message. I don't think so, man. I'm not all right with it.
That's the news. I don't have an outro for the news, so it's just going to end. That's the end of it. But we're coming up on about an hour and 20 minutes here, hour and a half, give or take, something like that. So before we go, did you want to say something, Biz? You have the microphone up to you.
No, I'm sorry.
Who's going to sing?
I can't do that.
You're going to sing, Amy?
Let everyone that's listening right now know again just where they can find your information on what you're doing.
lisadove.com, or email me at lisa@lisadove.com, or Facebook. And my Facebook group is Butterfly Social or Lisa Dove Marketing, or Instagram.
For all your social media marketing needs.
Or
and yeah, what do you got coming up in the next few years? Do you have like plans on what the future holds for you, Lisa?
I've actually been working on my marketing plan for the last 2 weeks. So much is changing. I can't decide if I'm going to open a virtual assistant firm and have a bunch of people work under me, or do more social media classes. So kind of that one out.
So a nice little balance of stuff to come. So stay tuned for Lisa Dove in the future, and I'll if I need any matchmaking in the future, I'm hooked up for now, Lisa. But in the future, if I need any, I know who to go to for something.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll screw something up along the way, and I'll end up single and in an alley somewhere, Biz. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
So your girlfriend will end up coming to me to be matched.
What'd you say? Yeah.
Girlfriend ended up coming to me to be matched with a millionaire.
Yeah. Oh, a millionaire would be nice. That would be great.
Right.
But guys, anyone who again is listening on the live feed right now, thank you so much for tuning in for our what do we kind of want to call it, Biz? Our first live stream show.
Why not?
You can always follow us on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Pandora, and all the like. We'll post this to YouTube sometime during this week, so you can listen to it and watch it there as well. And Lisa, thank you so much for being on the show. Really appreciate it, and we'll have to have you on again soon. And we'll post links to all your stuff too in the social media when we do it. So let's try the outro here, Biz. You ready?
Oh yeah.
Give an outro taste. So I guess you guys got to also mute your microphone so we don't say anything chicanerous over the outro. So thank you guys for listening. Tune in next time, and I'm Patrick Joen.
And I'm Bizzle Chance. You told me to mute.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And you're listening to Infiltrate Radio Podcast. Talk to you guys next time.
Infiltrate Radio.